Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul, and in this Games.com video, we're going to be discussing and analysing tech news which, as usual, has popped up over the past 24 or so hours. We're going to be starting things out with a report that Microsoft will be showing all new Xbox hardware during gamescon. So this one's bound to raise a few eyebrows. After all, the company are headlong into development of the next generation Xboxes. That's right, they are developing multiple systems, and this is codenamed Project Scarlet. But before anyone starts jumping up and down that we're going to see a preview of the new Xbox systems, most likely this is not going to be the case. Instead, good money is that we'll be seeing the Xbox Elite 2 controller. There are a few distinct differences from what the rumours are with this new controller. The first is it has USB-C connectivity along with Bluetooth. Now, we're going to be seeing the live stream from Xbox, Inside Xbox, take place on August the 21st at 3:30 UK time. That is, of course, during the Gamescom conference. It's also possible, since they said all new Xbox hardware and accessories, we might see a few extra Xbox SKUs, possibly with larger hard drives or something along those lines. But most likely, the big feature will once again be the Xbox Elite 2 controller. Now we're going to move over to AMD and 7nm Vega and AMD's pursuit for machine learning excellence. So, of course, at Computex 2018, Lisa Su did drop a few large bombshells. The first is that EPYC, using the Zen 2 microarchitecture, was shaping up very well for data centers, and we're going to start seeing consumers actually be receiving early prototype shipments over the next several months, which is very good news. It means that they're actually skipping totally Zen Plus and jumping from 14nm all the way down to 7nm, which means that early next year, their customers will be able to actually buy that hardware. The other piece of news was that 7nm Vega would be shipping this year. Now, we don't know all of the details about 7nm Vega, and that is putting it mildly, but there are a series of rather interesting quotes which are floating around from Mark Papermaster. He is AMD's Chief Technology Officer, and he said that there is a need for high performance with what we call the edge of the network, closer to the source where data is coming in and needing to be analysed, often in real time. AMD's deep learning strategy is holistic and provides engines of AI for both the data center and the edge. One thing that they did manage to wrangle out of Mark is that there wasn't just FP16 like in current Vega. There was additional functionality there, but he just would not comment exactly what that was. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see support for multiply and accumulate. It would make sense given the time frame that AMD are looking to release this thing. I mean, after all, if they want to be competitive in the data center, then it would make an awful lot of sense. There are a lot of rumors right now concerning RX Vega. One of them, which I'll link to in the video description, is that we may see additional compute units compared to Vega 14nm, also known as the current generation Vegas. The reason behind that is just that the die sizes don't quite match up. If you shrink down from a 14nm process down to a 7nm process, quite simply 7nm Vega is just a little too big. But you can find more information on that, as I said, in the video linked in the description. Aside from all of that, it's going to be a very exciting time, I think, for AMD in the data center. I'm also going to quickly point out that we still don't have any word yet what's going on with gamers for next generation GPUs. There were those rumours that we're going to see a refresh of Polaris yet again, but there hasn't been anything further since then. And of course, when it comes to Vega 7nm, most likely it's not going to come to gamers. In fact, there's yet another set of rumours that said that it's just too expensive at the moment with HBM2. And instead, we're probably going to have to wait until Navi. But Navi, the shipment date for that is not going to be until like the first or second quarter of next year. So it's a bit ambiguous right now what's going to happen for gaming. While we're on the subject of graphics cards, let's discuss rumours of the next generation Nvidia cards. This comes to us from reports of TSMC. Supposedly, the fourth quarter of 2018 will be even more lucrative for TSMC, and there's a couple of reasons behind this. The first is that they will be manufacturing chips for Apple on their 7nm refinery, and these, of course, will be custom A12 chips. But the second reason, according to sources, is that TSMC will be manufacturing Nvidia's next generation of GPUs, which means that profits will start to roll in the fourth quarter. Once again, this does not give us an exact release window by any stretch of the imagination, but it does further buffer what we've heard in the past regarding Nvidia's plans to release GPUs. For those who are unfamiliar, it's most likely that around September or October time, at least in my opinion from what I'm identifying with the rumours, is the date that Nvidia most likely will be introducing the desktop 11 series. But for those with a mobile flair, if you want a new laptop for example, according to reports, it's not going to be until possibly November or even December that we start seeing Turing. Of course, there are things that could hold it back. The fact that mining has not been as profitable recently, and therefore we've seen a lot of back inventory of Pascal GPUs, which is something we've discussed a lot of times right now on the channel, so I'm going to glaze over it really fast, does possibly mean that Nvidia are just going to manufacture those GPUs, the 11 series, and then keep them, hold them until they feel that they've cleared out enough of the 10 series. And the good news is, if you do need a GPU right now, of course, as we just covered a couple of days ago, the prices for graphics cards have certainly diminished a lot. You can pretty much buy, let's say, the RX 580 or a GTX 1060, and I mentioned those two cards specifically because they were incredibly popular with miners, and you can actually get them at basically MSRP prices, and this is true whether it's in the US or the UK, which is absolutely fantastic news. Now let's move over to the European Commission versus Google. The European Commission are suing Google on eye-watering 4.34, not million, but billion euros. That's right, €1 billion. Now, what is this about? Well, it's really simple. It is to do with Android. They are accusing Google of monopoly and pretty much having a stranglehold in the market. There are multiple reasons behind this. One of those is all of the bundled software which comes with Android. Another allegation is that they are pushing mobile phone manufacturers to A, not create forks of Android, and B, to also promote and push certain variants of their applications. Of course, that would not... Failure to comply with this within 90 days will result in even more fines from the EC against Google. Now, Google are actually appealing this, and they have actually given a quote to The Verge, which reads, "Android has created more choice for everyone, not less. A vibrant ecosystem, rapid innovation, and lower prices are classic hallmarks of robust competition. Google will appeal the Commission's decision." Now, for Google to actually fix this, it would simply mean that they would no longer A, have to either bundle software with the mobile phones, or B, they could bundle it, but it would be easier for them to remove and also promote other software. See, the problem is, and this is my opinion as a customer, and this is not necessarily an ethical opinion, but it's just my opinion as someone who just wants a damn device to work. I'm kind of a techie, as I'm probably sure you'll agree, but here's the thing. I am also someone who just often can't be bothered to start searching through marketplaces and oh look, I need to download a browser. I need to download this. I need to download that. I need to download the search assistant. I just want to get a phone that works. And apparently, I'm not the only one who feels like that. The average consumer just does not want to search for different browsers. They don't want to necessarily do a whole lot when they get a phone. And therefore, just a very tiny percentage of people will use different browsers other than Google Chrome. And of course, the EC are alleging that that's the reason. They are essentially pushing users into their ecosystem, into Google's ecosystem. Google are not the only company who have run foul of the EC. I mean, we all remember the Microsoft case back in the day. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. As I said, it would be rather easy for Google to comply, but I do wonder how the appeal is going to go, and are they actually going to do anything with the fix? I mean, 4.34 billion is a lot of money. I mean, you know, you wouldn't be happy if you had to pay that amount of money. But then again, Google are not a poor company, so they might just try and run the course and then just keep fighting it in a legal battle with courts over the next several years. So it's going to be really cool to see how all this plays out, at least in my opinion. And finally, let's discuss hard drives. It is slowly edging towards the end of the era of mechanical hard drives, and this is highlighted rather wonderfully with Western Digital. Western Digital have been synonymous with the creation of hard drives for years now and are often one of the more talked about manufacturers for those drives. And we've seen, of course, Western Digital Blue drives and goodness knows what else be pretty infamous in the industry. But slowly but surely, people are creeping towards SSDs of some description or another, whether they're M2 drives, whether they're SATA drives, or what have you, of whatever technology. These drives are faster, and quite frankly, so much faster than mechanical drives that mechanical drives are just not selling as well as they used to. Western Digital are acutely aware of this and are actually shutting down a manufacturing facility which creates mechanical drives and instead opening one up which actually creates SSDs. It is aiming to close this manufacturing facility by the end of 2019, and the good news is that Western Digital will actually be offering excellent severance packages for the current employees, or helping to relocate them, or offering them upskill training. So that's obviously really good and very cool of Western Digital, at least in my opinion. But it does show us that although there are still really good uses for mechanical hard drives, like if you are looking to store a lot of files, if you're not particularly interested in access times, they're good for games which maybe you don't play that consistently, or perhaps not competitively, that type of thing, then by all means mechanical drives are excellent for that. And obviously they're still fairly reliable as well if you get a good brand, but slowly but surely the capacity of SSDs is increasing relative to the price point especially. So eventually, it's not going to be tomorrow, it's not going to be next year, it may not be even the year after that, but it's going to get to the point where, yes, conventional hard drives are still absolutely massive, but, you know, a lot of users, if they're gamers or what have you, they don't necessarily need like 400 terabytes of hard drive space. Although I say that, and games are massive. Like, I actually downloaded Gears of War several days ago, Gears of War 4, for the PC, because I'm running some benchmarks for a system, and I actually forgot how bloody huge that game is. It's like, what, 130 gigs? Something absolutely ridiculous. I mean, yeah, and it's not the only game, of course, that's way over 50 gigs. They are pretty consistent now, so it's kind of weird. You're in this situation where you've got storage space not being so much of a big deal, especially now as we're switching to streaming. But for gamers, I suspect that you're probably going to have one or two SSDs for games, and then for lesser play titles, you're probably going to want a mechanical hard drive. I'm curious to know, if you're a gamer, how you kind of organize your Steam library and whatever other digital services that you've got. With all of that said, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.